My name is Dan Burton, and I play Phil Davis in the musical White Christmas. And I'm one of the the main double act of Bob Wallace and Phil Davis. Bob Wallace is played by lovely Jay McGuiness, and I'm his other half.
Glorious. As we know, you've kind of been with the show 4 years now, kind of started at the Curve. Now it's obviously went to the Dominion kind of the year after that and kind of spiraled from there, really. But what kind of then brings you back to the show?
I mean, for me personally, throughout my career, there's been very few parts that I felt like I wanted to come back to within production at the time. But there's something about this production that I felt, I mean, obviously with COVID, everything went down, didn't it? Everything stopped. We were in Edinburgh last year, and when we closed slightly early, I didn't feel like it was ready to be put to bed yet. And it was very nice to be asked to do the show again. But at the same time, being reunited with people like Monique Young, who originated the role of Judy opposite me in Leicester Curve originally, getting to sort of revisit it with her, and also have Betty Haynes, Jess Daley from last year, and with Jay as a new cast and new ensemble members, having old and new and sort of brought together has meant that the full company can sort of reinvest in it, and sort of it's no one sort of come back and is doing exactly the same thing that they did previously. It's sort of evolved, so it's got a new life, as it were, but within the same production. And Ian's done a fantastic job. Ian Talbot, our director, at the direction, and with Stephen Mears' choreography. It's just so nice to revisit this lovely, amazing story that everyone knows so well, and those that don't, they always come out smiling once they've seen it, because they if they haven't seen it either on TV at Christmas, they can live it live from us telling the story, which is just so lovely and heartfelt.
Of course. And obviously then being a returning cast member, like you say, and some of you kind of other guys are as well, kind of how is that when you kind of get to this stage where you're in rehearsals?
Oh, it's great. It's really, really great. Obviously, when you're learning routines and you're doing scenes, if you've not experienced it, it throws me back to half of my brain is the first time I learned it. I go, okay, what am I doing? Trying to get all the information, dance steps, blocking everything, intention. But then from have 4 versions, this is the 4th version, as you say, of doing it. It's nice to sort of reinvest in it, because there's some bits that are similar and some bits that are the same, but then there's other bits that have sort of taken a new life, and you can also revisit things as an actor. You can revisit things from a different angle, and then you may have, I mean, I found this with Jay as Bob. He'll come at something with an idea, or come with a certain scene and go, well, how about this? Is this how I feel? How do you think about this? And we'll have a conversation about it, and then it'll lead to a question and answer of, I never thought of delivering the line like this or like that. And it's really refreshing to have that, and with this piece especially, I feel very grateful to be asked to play Phil again, from a choreographic and from a directing point of view, because I highly respect very much Ian Talbot and Stephen Mears. They are very much at the best of their game in this wonderful production, and the audiences are really in for a very, very, very splendid treat. I mean, it's a real, I always say it's a triple threat extravaganza, but it really is. The ensemble are fantastic, and the principals are fantastic. It's a real, really, really special show. And so the audiences are going to be in for a real treat.
And obviously, as you kind of touched on there, like obviously last year with COVID and everything, and then obviously then, I guess in a way, because it's a Christmas show that you kind of obviously are only doing it for a limited time anyway. How's that kind of then, that year kind of process building up to it, kind of when you've lived the kind of COVID and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think, COVID's affected everybody in many different ways. But for me personally, I feel that, I love to have a purpose, and I love to be creative, both in my personal life and my professional life. And I really, really, it's a challenge, this role. I wouldn't say it's easy by any stretch. I mean, especially the first act, I don't really leave the stage. It's like a conveyor belt almost, and I revel in the challenge of singing, dancing, and acting all at the same time. So it keeps me very much fit. But knowing that I've done previous productions, you sort of know what you're letting yourself in for. And, I had a strict sort of gym regime about a month or two, nearly 3 months prior to it, just to sort of get my body into sort of Phil Davis shape to get going. So if you're not fit and healthy to do this job, it's, injuries creep in very, very quickly. You have to be sort of on your game, ready to go in a short rehearsal process. So, I kind of knew what I was letting myself in for, but it also means that then you're match fit and ready as soon as you hit these big dance calls. And I mean, for instance, just yesterday we did I Love a Piano, which is the tap number at the beginning of Act 2, and we spent pretty much most of the whole day doing that number, tapping all day from first thing in the morning to last thing at night, obviously with some breaks. But it was it's very, very grueling, but the attention to detail has to be there from every single cast member, and the work ethos is absolutely fantastic.
And obviously, White Christmas is probably best known for the film, obviously. But what do you think the kind of lasting appeal of the story is?
Oh, I think it's so heartwarming, and it literally is for me. It's Christmas tied up in a bow, because I think there's something for every single member of the family, all generations. And I think more than ever, I think after COVID, we need the escapism of theatre as an art form to sort of have that time to just be sat and entertained for a couple of hours in a theatre. It is literally the magic of Christmas. I mean, you've got every single element that you want. Without giving any spoilers away, with the snow, with the things that happen with the production, but also the love story between the two main characters and the two the other both myself and Monique as Judy and Phil, and obviously Bob and Betty, all four of us, the mixture of our camaraderie and getting this show on for the lovely general who we want to help out so much, and the little twist plots that happen along the way. There really is something for every part of the family, and it's a really, really magnificent treat for the audience, and they seem to really, really enjoy it. So, as I say, it's a real pleasure to be asked to do the production again.
And I guess maybe not now, because like you say, you've done it quite a few times now, the role, but kind of when you first get that role, what was that process like? Do you sit and watch the film? Do you kind of do that sort of research, or you just kind of create it from scratch?
Oh, I do. It's a good question. I do like to research. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion, when you watch movies, especially old MGM type movies that are so well known, because you can go into a rehearsal room with a preconceived idea of what you think you're doing, and then the director may have completely the different opinion. And obviously, we had Nikolai Foster originally, with the production, and now we have Ian, and they're both very, very different. And so I like to be open as much as I possibly can to whatever the ideas that people bring. But the research is really important of the era of the time. But it is also amazing when you stand in period costumes, how that can feel. And that can also alter your performance, which you don't get until you get into technical rehearsal at the theatre. So the rehearsals in the room here previously, you're layering that up. Whereas you do have a little bit of a head start if you've done the production before, because you know that when you're wearing a high trouser and a short top, you're wearing that double brogue, it makes you stand a certain way, and it can really capture the performance in the part. It just adds that extra layer, in between actually doing costume changes live on stage in the middle of the scene rather than in the wings. Yes. But it's just sort of layering it up and sort of also finding your way, as I previously mentioned. I mean, all cast members have brought so many new, old, different interpretations of what they think we can do, and then it's just a matter. It's like a mixing pot that you put it all in, and then Ian and Stephen both sort of put it all together and realize, what is actually going to be the best for this production. And it's as I say, it's so exciting.
Obviously, the score itself is kind of obviously the iconic title number.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite number in the show?
Oh, that's very, very hard to say. I mean, of course, White Christmas is fantastic, the number itself, but there's so many other things. The best things happen when you're dancing, I think. I mean, Danny Kaye, for me, watching him, in that role, to all the different sounds, the different flavors from Spanish, Latin to rock and roll, to all the different journeys that you go on. The music is just, I mean, Irving Berlin is a genius. He absolutely is. But then you have I can't just have one, because you've got Love You Didn't Do Right by Me. You've got all these beautiful ballads. Love in the Weather, I Love a Piano. Obviously, all very, very different, but also so memorable numbers. He's an absolute genius. But also as well, the harmonies. People think White Christmas, they think, oh, that's nice. It's a nice Christmas easy sing. The cast were rehearsing the number White Christmas Today, and when you listen individually to them learning their harmonies, and you hear the intricacy of those tight knit harmonies, it's really, really complex, and it's just, it's an absolute marvel to sort of listen to it and be a part of it. So yes, in a long-winded answer, I would probably say, apart from White Christmas, the best things happen when you're dancing, and probably How Deep Is the Ocean as well, that Bob and Betty sing, I think is a very beautiful song.
Yes, I have some more I call them quickfire questions here, just general Christmas questions for you.
Great.
Because obviously Christmas is coming now. It's only 2 months tomorrow. 2 months tomorrow, frightening.
Is it? Wow. Got it. Races quickly, doesn't it?
It does do, yeah. What is your favourite Christmas film? You can say White Christmas if you like.
Home Alone.
Solid choice. What is your favourite part of Christmas dinner?
Oh, the stuffing.
Yes. What is your favourite Christmas song?
Oh, now, okay, this is difficult to review, but I would probably say Careless Whisper. And favourite Christmas song. I'm a bit of a guilty pleasure. I do, on Christmas Day itself, I do like a bit of Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, but only on Christmas Day because it's overdone throughout the whole of Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, they're probably my favourite.
Would you rather be playing out in the snow or sat wrapped up by a fire?
Ooh, that's a good one. Out in the snow, definitely.
Good. And if you could travel anywhere in the world for Christmas, where would you go to see it?
I would like to go to probably Australia because the thought of having a hot Christmas, because we always have such lovely cold weather here in the UK. Yes. Probably, just to have a hot Christmas on the beach by the Barbie would be nice, I think.
And my last one, mince pie or Christmas cake?
Oh, that is a hard one. That's probably the hardest question, to be honest. Mince pie. I'll go mince pie.
Solid. I have a couple of more questions that I ask everyone I talk to. What was the first piece of theatre you saw in your life that you remember having an impact on you?
So the very first show I ever saw was at the Apollo Victoria, and it was Starlight Express, and I was very young at the time. And watching that made me, the spectacle of it just made me feel like, because I was really young at the time, very small, and I felt like I was in an arena with all the tracks around and everything. And I just remember being so in awe of people that sort of sang, danced and acted. And as I got older, I then ended up seeing movies of like Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, and the like, Tommy Rawle, Bob Fosse. And then I was just in awe of these people that sang and danced and acted all at the same time. And it was just something that stuck with me that I wanted to replicate and I've taken forward into my career moving forwards.
You've kind of touched on it there, but what does theatre mean to you?
So theatre, it is an escapism. It's an art form. It's an expression. It's a way to command. It's a way to share. It's somewhere of expressing your individuality, no matter what that may be. But at the same time, I just think it's an extenuation of your personality and feeling. And I feel like it's something that everybody, no matter whether you're, I don't know, whether your color, your skin, your race, your creed, whatever it is, your religion, anything, it should unify everybody together in the same place, and where people can be creative and collaborative together, all as one.
And my final question for you, which I could probably answer by saying it's a spectacular production, but why should anyone come and see White Christmas?
Well, people should come and see White Christmas because it is the quintessential triple threat extravaganza of tapping on pianos, beautiful Irving Berlin songs sung magnificently by we've got amazing ensemble. It is literally Christmas wrapped up in a bow. And it's the fact that in my whole career, I've returned to this role. This is the fourth time I'm coming back to this role, is because it is such a joy to be a part of this production, and the audiences really are in for a treat.
Glorious. Well, the show is coming to Truro, Nottingham, Sunderland, and then you have kind of an extended run in Liverpool. So everyone should come along and check it out.
Amazing.